Good morning, geometry class. This is Mrs. Klusek. Just want to give you some basic reminders. For this week's assignment, it's going to be 3 pages, but the problems are going to be spread out because we're going to be focusing on just basic things that I think you can do by following the examples. But please be sure to do all 3 pages, okay? If you do that also on one sheet of paper, that will be easier for me to check. So I would appreciate that, but do show your work, please. Last time we had some problems with people not showing work and I had to give it back to them or tell them to resubmit. If they did it early, it wasn't a problem, but if they waited to the last minute, then their assignment was incomplete. Okay, I'm about to go through some notes, and if I'm going too fast, it's because I want to make sure that my video is only 5 minutes long, otherwise it takes a really long time to upload. You can always pause it or rewind it if you don't catch something that I say, and copying these notes is optional. All right, this week we are looking at 2 lessons. The first one is lesson 11-1, and it's going to have to do with tangent lines. Tangent lines are lines that touch the circle in exactly one point of contact called the point of tangency. We also have a theorem or a rule about them, and that is that the tangent line is perpendicular to the radius or diameter. Okay, so we know this is a 90-degree angle. That's going to bring a right triangle into the picture, and we're going to use the Pythagorean theorem. All right, now there's another theorem, but we're just going to focus on that first one here, and it says a tangent line is shown, question mark. So we want to know, is this a tangent line? If it were a tangent line, the point of contact for the outside piece and the right angle would have to be here, making the 12 the hypotenuse, and thus these numbers would have to fit into the Pythagorean theorem. 4 squared plus 10 squared does not equal 12 squared. Okay, that's the minimum amount of work I need to see for these questions. This is how the homework is going to start. Make sure you show me that the numbers do or do not fit the Pythagorean theorem. 16 plus 100 does not equal 144, so no, it's not a tangent line. Okay, then the next example I want to show you has to do with 11-2. Now there's another problem from 11-1 that I want you to cover, but just as a basic vocabulary question, I think you should be able to figure that on your own. All right, we're looking at a chord. You defined some of these terms last week, and this is a chord with segment with both ends on the circle. We know that the diameter has that property, therefore it is the longest chord of the circle. And now we have another problem. This is a little bit tricky now. This is a hard one. We have a line here that represents the radius that's unknown. We have this line that's coming that's like part of a radius that's perpendicular to the chord. And then our theorem, if you look the theorems, that it'll say that this line bisects the chord. Okay, so if this is 10 the whole way across, see how it's in the middle? That makes each piece 5. Then what I have to do is make a right triangle. I can draw in this line here and label it X because all radii of a circle are equal. This is a harder problem, not a basic one. Okay, some of them we already have the triangle drawn for you. Then you do the Pythagorean theorem, 4 squared plus 5 squared equals X squared. That's going to work out to be the square root of 41, and you can round to the nearest tenth for that. Okay, then after that, for lesson 11-2, I have you doing some review of a little bit of basic SOHCAHTOA. Make sure you remember inverse for angles. You're going to need a calculator for that. Make sure you show your work as to which trig function you're using. And if you don't know how to do a problem, remember that next to it in green in the homework assignment, it will have what lesson it goes with. Okay, so this problem right here that I didn't do an example of, it says example 5. So number 13, when you go to do that one, you can see that example 5 will show you how to do it. I hope this helps. You can send me some feedback if you want. Have a good day.